Hey, it's Joey. I make music and I mix them. Just a quick video update. I'm sort of back in school, and I say sort of because I created my own online learning curriculum. And I did this so I could study things that I'm actually interested in instead of things that schools just wanted to teach me. There's like a huge difference there. I'm going to be talking about that in this video. So if you've been wanting to learn something all your life and you feel like you never had the chance, now's a good time, and I'll also tell you why that is. Before we move on, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Hive Audio and Dream Audio. If you are in the Philippines and if you're looking for home recording gear, microphones, interfaces, these are the guys to call. And I also want to give a shout out to Pioneer DJ Philippines. Please hit the subscribe and like buttons. I'd really appreciate it if you could do that. All right, so let's get to the topic at hand. Why did I choose to go back to school at this point? Well, first off, I never really had any formal music training. And I grew up in the 90s. I was in university at the turn of the century. I feel kind of old saying that. I was in university at the year 2000. I was a freshman then. And there really weren't a lot of opportunities to learn music production, at least not in the Philippines. And the internet was still, it was still a baby. Compared to what it is now. We didn't have YouTube back then. We only had online bulletin boards. We had online forums and that kind of thing. But everything was still quite nascent. And what I would have had to do was I would have had to train as an apprentice with another producer, or I would have had to work in a recording studio and that kind of thing. So you really needed like a lot of hands-on time. And that's really valuable even today. But back then, I was 16 years old, and no one's gonna get like a 16-year-old guy to come into the studio and help out in all of these professional recording situations. So that's kind of when I started figuring things out on my own. There weren't any online tutorials yet at the time, so it was all pretty much trial and error. And it took me a really, really, really long time to learn even just the basics of recording music. And fast forward to today, you can hop on YouTube, look for a free tutorial, and learn all of the basics in under 10 minutes, or at least like the most fundamental aspects of recording, like what a microphone is, what an interface is, and that kind of thing. Back then, you didn't have that. The reference materials were aimed more for engineers and people who actually have experience in recording music and that kind of stuff. So it was a little bit more difficult to get into the profession back then, and you really needed to spend a lot of time with other engineers, with other producers in order to learn how to do this. So since I never had any of that experience as an apprentice, or never had like formal music education, now is like a really good time to do that, because there is practically an infinite amount of information available online, not least which is YouTube, which is where you can get free stuff like this one. And also you've got sites like Mix with the Masters, if you want to learn how Chris Lord, Algie, or all the great engineers do their thing. So yeah, so those are the main reasons why I want to get back to it right now. I just want to again fill in the gaps in my knowledge, which I never really had the opportunity to do back then. And now it's just the best time, because there's just so much information that's readily available. So next up, I created a schedule, right? So my curriculum basically consists of watching lectures, doing hands-on exercises, and then doing music discovery. So the way I break down my day is I have 5 parts. The first part happens around 9 a.m., which is when I wake up. So 9 till around noon, this is when I watch lectures. I usually mix this with some exercise, like I do a quick run, or I go to the gym in the mornings. My second block happens right after lunch at around 1 p.m. This is when I do some ear training. I really needed to spend more time learning the nuances in music. So, I spend 30 minutes to 1 p.m. till around 1:30 just doing ear training. And a great resource for that, if you're interested, is to head on over to the Beato ear training course. This is by Rick Beato. There are also other apps that you can try. Just look for them online. From 1:30 till around 2 or 2:30, that's when I have hands-on time with my instrument of choice. I alternate between the guitar and the piano because my piano playing is not that good. I mean, I can play basic chords, but I can't, actually play them in a live situation. So it's really important to have that hands-on time with the instrument. So again, I alternate between the guitar and the piano between 1:30 to around 2:30 p.m., depending on how difficult the session is. Once that's done, I then get to work. So sometimes, I'll have a band come over and we're gonna do recording, whether it's Sponge Cola, or if I am working on like a TVC or like an online ad. Usually I do that around 3 p.m. till around 7 p.m. That's 4 hours of deep work. Everything gets shut off. I take a break at 7, have dinner with my folks, and then from 8 p.m. onwards, this is when I have like a looser schedule, but I do make it a point that I spend time in music discovery mode. Now, this is something I used to do when I was a teenager. Like, I don't know, well, when we were kids, when you and I were kids, we just had this voracious appetite for music. We love listening, buying CDs, buying cassettes, buying records of artists that our friends listened to. And, we heard these songs on the radio, we'd buy them, we'd tape them off the radio and that kind of thing. So that I realized that, I had that voracious appetite when I was a lot younger. And then when I hit like my mid and late 20s, I kind of stopped listening to the newer things. And I made a conscious effort when I turned like 30 years old. I was like, I don't want to be stuck in like the 90s because there's so much great music being put out. So, I made it a point to really listen to new stuff. And of course, since I'm a DJ, it's imperative that I listen to new things and I keep an eye out for anything new that comes around, any new music trends, stuff that people want to hear and dance to. It's very, very important. But now I'm kicking that up a notch by actually making time in my schedule on a daily basis to just go through Apple Music, see what's new, go through a rabbit hole of clicking on an artist and then checking out the other associated artists and that kind of thing. So there's just a little bit more intention, and that's very important in my line of work as a DJ, and even in my line of work as a music producer, because I really need to look for ideas from different styles. I think that's kind of what defines my own style as a music producer. I draw from like different genres and try to weave them into something that sounds uniquely me. I love big choruses. I love bass. I love drums. I love loud guitars. So kind of try to add those characteristics or those nuances in my production style whenever I work with someone. So that's kind of what my curriculum looks like. So from Monday to Friday, I just follow these blocks of time. And if you want to do something similar, my suggestion is to start off with something really small. Say you want to learn how to you want to get into stamp collecting for some reason. Philately has interested you in 2021, at the time of this film, 2021. So you're into philately now. Instead of, just having like this very rigid schedule in mind every single day that you're going to beat yourself up over if you don't get to do it, why don't you just allot like, an hour every single day? Maybe it's an hour after lunch, an hour before dinner, or an hour when you wake up, that you're going to read up on stamp collecting. You're going to read up on, the history of it. You're going to read up on why people do it, because there still are people who do collect stamps and that kind of thing. So yeah, just start really small. I think that's the most important thing to remember, because some people think that, if they want to change habits or they want to try something new, they're gonna sort of fill up their days with all of these commitments that point to the accomplishing of tasks related to that new thing that they want to get into or that new skill. And I think the counterintuitive way to go about it is to just start really small. Just do one thing. Do it consistently, because that's gonna give you confidence, and then you add on the minutes or the hours as you go along. That's how you build a habit from scratch, and that increases your chances of actually sticking to it. So yeah, just a few tips there for you. It never really is too late to learn. I think most recent neuroscience findings show that even when you are in your 60s and your 70s, you can still learn, because the brain is so plastic. It's even more plastic than previously thought. And we're still learning so much more about it. So I wouldn't say that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Maybe you can't teach it as fast, but eventually the dog will still learn. So I'm the dog in the situation, and I believe I can still learn these days. All right, so I hope you like this little vlog. I wanted this to be like a 2-minute thing, but yeah, I don't know, I love talking, so it is the length it is right now. Again, please hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. I'm trying to grow this channel. It'd be cool if I could take you along in my journey, if you come along with me. And if you are a singer-songwriter, you've got some songs and you want a producer to help you out, get in touch with me. Let's work together. I'll give you the details of that in the description below. Once again, my name is Joey. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you next time. Bye-bye.